Alright, welcome to another Dolphin Computer Service video, and today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite MacBooks ever. This one is the Uni-body MacBook Pro. They range from, I believe, 2008 all the way up to 2014, 2015, around that era. This is the 13-inch model, but they came in a 15-inch as well. The processors inside go from the Core 2 Duo all the way up to the Core i series. i7 is the highest one you can get. So the reason why I'm making one of these videos is because I've been working on a lot of them lately, and I absolutely love this computer. So as you see here, to me, this is one of the best cheap MacBooks that you can buy. The keyboard, this one's currently off. The keyboard is the best that I have ever typed on. The trackpad is amazing. It's actually really sturdy for a MacBook. Usually these things have a reputation for being really flimsy or really fragile, but this one's actually pretty durable. In fact, I've had a customer where he accidentally left it on the top of his car, on the roof of his car. He drove off, fell off, and it worked perfectly fine. He just had to replace the screen that he cracked on accident because it fell off his car. And he still uses that computer till this day. So the reason, again, why I'm making this video, because I've been working a lot on them. And, now, people are getting older. Kids, are doing a lot more things online. They need a computer that they know that will work. And for the people that don't want to get a PC and would like to be in the Mac ecosystem, this is, I believe, one of the cheapest good ones to get. This one is the Core i5 series 13-inch. This is this is a late 2011, I believe, and they call it the A1278. This one's been upgraded to a solid state drive. These are very upgradable, and parts are easy to find, whether it's genuine or aftermarket. Even the charger you could buy still brand new from Apple if you want. They even sell the adapters from the old one to the new one. The screen is a 1200 by 800 display. This one's the non-Retina version, but they did make a Retina version of this one. It's the last year they made it. In fact, I think this one was 2012. Correction, they ended all the way up to 2012. So that one's a really sought after one because of the screen. Even though the screen on this one is not bad at all, if you want to watch something in 720p, it's perfectly fine. In fact, this one has the original battery from the factory. And even on that battery, without connecting to the charger, you could still watch a full, typical length movie on it, and your battery will hold on just fine. Batteries are really easy to find for this thing. They're even really cheap too if you're willing to take the risk. Again, I normally use iFixit batteries because they're high quality and they actually perform as they do. The screens are also easy to find. You can usually pick these up, a whole complete working unit, for about $250. You'll usually find there's a bunch of them out in the wild. These is one of their most popular models. The i5, which is like this one, is the most common one you'll find. If you find an i7, you'll usually pay a premium for it because they didn't make a lot of i7s in the 13-inch. Usually you'll find the i7 in the 15-inch. That's where you usually find them because I believe that was the base model for the 15-inch. All of 13 inches of this model year, are dual core, like even the Core 2 Duo. The Core 2 Duos you can find a lot, usually a bit cheaper than this one, usually for around $100, $150. I would not really recommend it. As you saw in my previous video, the black MacBook has a Core 2 Duo. You need in order to watch a video, you can watch videos on it, but you have to download a plugin on your Google Chrome or Firefox. Usually H.264 is what I normally used. But I had a 15-inch, a 2009 15-inch with, it's actually had its own discrete graphics. It was a GeForce 9300M, if I remember correctly. I don't remember. I have to look it up again. But even that one with its own dedicated, memory, it had to use its own dedicated video correction. I believe that one used DDR2, but I don't. Again, it's been a while since I had it. I had that one many years ago. Even that one in 2015 it was struggling to play videos without the plugin. It wouldn't play anything above 720p. You had to use the plugin, but it was still a great computer. Usually in this year, the 15 inches, they say they say you got to avoid those because all the graphics cards that are built on them are going to die. Again, that one, I had it all the way up to 2017 and it worked just fine. I would play videos. I played videos on it. I even typed with it. I did all my college throughout it when I was in aviation school. It was a good computer. So maybe that's true. Maybe that's not about the graphics card. But that one, it lasted me. And in fact, I sold it to another gentleman that really liked it. And as far as I know of, since I sold it back in 2017, 2018, around there, they still have it and they still use it. So, I don't know. Maybe it just depends on how you use the computer. And speaking of how you use the computer, these are perfect for, doing your classes online, what we call media consumption, watching your YouTube, your Netflix, your Hulu, your Disney Plus. And in fact, I still see DJs that use this style of MacBook, the Uni-body, to do their music production. In fact, I've done music production on this particular one. I had a 2011 13-inch way back in the day that not only would I edit music on it I would rip it from the CD. That's another thing. These things have a built-in CD drive. This one's actually one of the few that has it still built in. I do a lot of these, and in fact mine, my 2015 inch, I did it as well, where I replaced the CD DVD drive combo with what they call the hard drive caddy. So what I did was, another thing about these Macs is you could dual boot them for Windows or Mac. So on the hard drive, I had Windows 7 on the laptop on the 15-inch, and then on the SSD, I had Mac OS El Capitan, which was the highest that supported back in the day. This one, the Core i series, you can go all the way up to High Sierra, but on both the 2015, on both the 15-inch and the 13-inch, you can download a patcher called DOS Dudes Patcher, where you can put a Mojave, you can put Mojave and Catalina, and I think, don't quote me on it, but I think they have a patcher for Big Sur for this. I used to have the patcher on my 2011 Mac Mini, and for some reason the patcher became really buggy, and I had to reinstall it all the way back to High Sierra. It's good, it works. Not everything works when you do the patchers. Like, I never got a AirPlay to work on it, but it allows you to download the latest apps and programs, and you can run it. And with an SSD, it runs pretty well. The maximum supported by Apple is 8 gigabytes of RAM, but on the 2015s at least, I've seen people put 16 gigabytes of RAM in it, and it works just fine. In fact, I know 16 gigabytes will work because now that I think about it, I did a upgrade for a client way back where I put 16 gigs on it. I think it was a 2012 though, which I think the 2012 officially supports 16. Again, it was a long time ago. I don't really remember. But I know on the Mac Minis, a 2011, I have 16 gigabytes in one right now, and it works just fine. And that's essentially kind of this in a smaller package, more or less. And I think 16 gigabytes, personally, on a base model like this one, which is also what that gentleman have, the Core i5 series, is overkill, especially if you're just going to be having it open with Chrome and, having Netflix or Microsoft Word or whatnot. If you're just going to be using it for that, I think 8 gigabytes is more than enough. If you are going to be doing music production and video production, that's another thing, back to the music and video production. I even did light editing on videos. I used to stitch together videos, crop videos, like trim them and all that with iMovie. That's another thing. These things have GarageBand and iMovie for free that you could download off the App Store. So if you're just, if you don't really want to buy a program, you can just download it off the App Store. It works perfectly fine with it. And, for basic stuff, like, in fact, I edit all these videos on iMovie on my iMac, on my Mac Mini correction, and it works just fine. these machines are perfect for that. So if you are going to be doing that, then I would recommend the 16 gigabytes just for that extra bit of space for doing stuff and running plugins on those programs. But if you're just going to be using it to surf the web, type up documents, watch some movies, it's perfectly 8 gigabytes, I believe, is more than enough. So like I said, things are really easy to find for this thing. You can even buy the little feet and all the screws for it. That's not a lot of laptops you can say have that much support, even 10 plus years after they were made. Again, if you are wanting to buy these things, I usually, as of the time of this recording, during the great coronavirus pandemic, you could usually pick them up on eBay for about $250 for the base model i5. Upgrading these things is really, really easy. So everything on this computer is relatively easy to upgrade. The hardest thing to fix is the screen, and not even that. It's just more of a time-consuming thing because there's a lot of cables you have to get out of the way. You have to pull out the motherboard. And in fact, I've heard that people have gotten Retina screens to work on non-Retina MacBooks like this one. Again, don't quote me on that. I've never done it, but the screen on this one is more than enough. In fact, I watch videos on a 13-inch. I have another one just like this one that no one has ever picked up. I keep calling them, but I use it to do all the test drives when I use the YouTube videos and whatnot. But everything on this is really easy to upgrade. The Wi-Fi card is replaceable. All the speakers are replaceable. The best thing you can do for one of these things is put in a solid state. It's really easy. This one currently has 4 gigs of RAM in it. This one is from a church that they use it to just play videos and stuff. This one has 4 gigabytes of RAM, and even with the 4 gigabytes of RAM, it works perfectly fine. You can have multiple Chrome tabs open. It doesn't go crazy. It doesn't get hot. The fans don't start screaming like jet engines, and it works perfectly fine. This one still has the CD drive in it because they like to play. This is actually CD DVD drive combo. They like to play DVDs and stuff, which is why they kept it. The battery is really easy to get to, really easy to remove, super easy to find, and super easy to install. One of the biggest problems you see with this is again, I made a previous video where the sleep and battery indicator, they die and they prevent the computer from working as normal. It'll read the battery doesn't work, or the battery's dead even when you put a new battery in it. The computer will run really slow because it thinks the battery's not present, or it just won't go to sleep, or it'll go to sleep when you don't want it to. This one has already been replaced. Again, you can find parts for this thing anywhere, on any store online, and and if you're the kind of person that wants to fix up or start fixing up computers, this is one of the best computers to fix up. You can find one for parts really cheap on eBay. Up in the front here, you have, this one's off again, you have a spot for a remote, so you could actually buy a remote for this thing and control it. There's a little light here that tells you when it's awake and it's asleep. Here, this is where that battery indicator is. This one, again, I have to replace it. Here, for some reason, they shoved the staple in it. I called them about it. Nobody has picked up. So for the time being, it stays there until they tell me otherwise. It's got 2 USB ports. These are USB-A at 2.0. It's got a combination microphone headphone jack. The SD card reader, my favorite feature of these things is the SD card reader. It makes putting in a backup drive really easy. In fact, I use the SD card on all my Macs. When I back them up, I put them on an SD card. It backs them up. It's really fast, really simple, and it works. You got Thunderbolt. This is the Thunderbolt 1 on this. It also doubles as display port. So this is a mini display port. They sell the adapters to convert it to whatever you need, VGA, DVI, HDMI, and a full-size display port. This is FireWire 800. You really never use it. I'm the only exception because I have a FireWire drive. And the nice thing about Macs is that they can go into target disk mode. So it basically turns your entire computer into a giant external hard drive if you so desire. That's how I reboot and reload the OS on a lot of these MacBooks sometimes, because I have a hard drive which has all the Intel-based OSs. Again, don't mind the staple in here. If they don't call me, I'll remove it in a moment. This is the Ethernet port if you want to connect it hardwired, and this is the MagSafe port. My opinion, this is the best thing they ever did. I was upset when they took it out. It makes it easy because if you drop it or if someone kicks your cable, it just detaches magnetically and you can attach it back. And in fact, the charger has an orange and a green light, so you know if it's working or if it's not, or if it's charging. Sometimes it's the charger, sometimes it's the computer, but if you get an Apple genuine one and you don't see the orange light when it's charging, you know there's a problem. It tells you specifically where the problem is and you could diagnose it from there. So the back of the computer is nothing much. This is just the exhaust port. This one has seen a little bit better days. Again, this one was in a church. I'm pretty sure they dropped it a bunch of times, but you know, they just asked me to fix up the sleep and keep it for them until they start right back up. Again, the CD, DVD port here. This is the Kensington lock, just to keep it in case you tie it up to something. And back to the front is that, you know, the screen here, again, is 1200 by 800. Nothing really special about it. You know, it's a very nice display, believe it or not. Oh, and the keyboard. Again, this is off. This is the eject button. But this keyboard actually lights up. And it is controlled either by these buttons or by the camera. The camera determines how bright the area is, and it'll automatically dim the lights to whatever setting you want, or you can just turn it off completely. The trackpad is also really good here. This is the original clicky one instead of the force touch. These model years have gestures controls, so you could actually use gestures to control, you know, the web pages and the windows. And again, you know, this laptop keyboard is the best one I've ever felt. It's still my favorite one. I've done a bunch of computers where I end up going back to this because I just love the keyboard so much. And yeah, that's about it. It has a small microphone up here. Yeah, the webcam is a little bit to be desired. It's 720p. It's not that great. You need a lot of light for it to look half decent. But you know, again, if you're not really doing that kind of stuff, it's more than enough to get the job done. Well, thank you very much for watching this video. Hope to see you all in the next one.